Okay. Everyone has their mics on? Okay, great. All right, calling to order the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting of August 10th, 6:30. Welcome everyone watching from home. We'll have a call to order starting with Commissioner Dretz.
Right here.
Okay. And we have Bonnie Balagov present, Karen Lenz present.
Fryer present. Lau Carino present.
Wonderful. Let's adopt the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
I'll second it.
Great. A walking second. All in favor. Does anyone have any discussion, anything to add? Delete? Are we good? Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Wonderful. Let's approve the minutes. I took a close look at those. Thank you, Kevin, for running the meeting.
You're welcome.
June. Appreciate that. And also for going to the council meeting.
Thank you.
Wonderful job.
I move that we approve the minutes of June 8th.
Excellent. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Terrific. Any citizens' communications? No citizens today in our seats. Do we have anything through the commissioners?
No.
No? Okay. We're just flying through this. Okay. Next is old business. Let's start with a concerts in the park update.
So I think we had put this on our commission calendar to do a debrief at the end of the season, but we still have a couple of concerts left. So I figured I would just share where we're at in the concert series. I think so far it's been a good season. We have had some feedback about one of the bands, and so it's good to hear when we test out new bands how well received they are by the community. So we will think twice about using that particular band in the future, but I think otherwise the community has been pretty pleased with this season so far. We had a little bit of a miscommunication with the scheduling of the last couple of bands, and so as a result, we've had a change in the schedule. So this coming Friday, we have Urban Outlaws, and it is a country band. Okay. And then next Friday, which is the last concert of the season, Andre Theory will have his Zydeco music, and we will also have a Cajun food truck present. So
nice.
I'm excited about the kind of wrap-up of the concert season next week.
I like the idea of pairing food trucks with the music. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. Nice.
Hopefully we can do more of that next summer.
Excellent idea. All right. Any comments on concerts in the park?
We're not concerts in the park, excuse me.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll get down to subcommittees. Anything else for that? Thank you for your report, Maureen. How about commission work plan update?
So I think the only updates we've had recently to the work plan have been a result of the rec facilities subcommittee meeting. So there were a couple additions under trail improvements, community space for recreation, and then town connectivity. The reason we wanted to put this on the agenda is because we want to encourage the other subcommittees that need to meet to work on the work plan to go ahead and schedule those meetings, and we can do that further in tonight's meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
But I think that based on our work plan goals and strategies, the subcommittees that should plan to meet are teams, rec programs, and events. So we can talk about that later in the agenda when we get down to scheduling the next subcommittee meetings.
Sounds good. Okay, great. Any comments from commissioners on that? Okay, good. All right, next is budget update.
So I just wanted to share with the commission, I feel like I'm going to be talking a lot tonight.
Okay, we enjoy it.
Let's do it right now.
I just wanted to share with the commission that our proposed budget was approved, so yay.
Wonderful.
We've transitioned to a 2-year budget, so it's approved for the 16-17 fiscal year as well as 17-18 fiscal year, and we received pretty much everything we asked for, so it's very exciting. All of the Mission Blue upgrades that the commission proposed, the additional funding for senior trips, some equipment up at the pool, banners for downtown, promotion of events and so forth. So we're very excited. Staff has already kind of started to work towards some of those things, and purchasing equipment and doing facility upgrades, and so we're very excited about that.
That's wonderful. Now, does that mean moving to a 2-year cycle? Does that mean that we next year will be doing any kind of review or at all, or is it just we're only going to be looking at this every 2 years?
So we can. The goal is to every 2 years work on the budget, and each alternating year to work on CIP.
Oh, okay.
So what we're anticipating is kind of bringing some of the CIP conversation back to the commission over the next several months, so that we're prepared when the fiscal year changes over to kind of present some of those CIP projects to City Council.
That sounds like a good plan. Okay.
Yeah, I just had a question on that. It was my understanding that we had asked for some of the upgrades to the Mission Blue kitchen
Yes.
to be not in this year, but in the following year, but that the council, maybe I have this right, or maybe I don't have this right, the council had decided that at least some of those they were going to do immediately, is that correct?
That's correct. Most of those things were bumped to this current
This
fiscal
year, so that was bumped forward.
Yeah.
And then on the banners in downtown, so the first thing up for that would be Day in the Park, is that correct?
Well,
Having
that's less than a few weeks away, so it's
so
not
that's
going to
not
happen for
that's
this
not
year.
going to happen for
No.
this year. Okay.
No.
Okay.
What would be the next event? Probably.
The next one we have is Festival of Lights, and so we have those banners already. Yeah.
So
So,
the holiday banner.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll take the next couple of months and we'll work with the commission as well to kind of lay out what we want to purchase in the way of banners and sets and for the next calendar year.
Okay.
So for the improvements at Mission Blue,
Yes.
was it a portion of that granted, or the entire amount that we had asked for as far as the amount of renovation and work we wanted to have done?
All of it. So that includes paint and patchwork, carpet, wall ovens, tile work, changing tables in the restrooms, cabinet doors in the kitchen, countertops in the kitchen, refrigerator, and new chairs.
That must have been quite a presentation you made.
Yeah.
Convincing and passion.
I had no,
Kevin really sold them on the fridge.
I had personal experience with the refrigerator, and it's
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's
Yeah.
How about the tables and chairs at the community center?
Yes.
No, the community center.
Yes, we have funds to replace all of the tables at the community center. The recommendation for council for the chair, from council for the chairs at the community center, since we're replacing the chairs at Mission Blue, they want us to take 100 or so of the best chairs from Mission Blue and replace those with the chairs at the community center. But we also recognize that the community center is heavily used by seniors, and that they will require, some of them will require chairs with arms on them. And so we do have some money in the budget to purchase the additional chairs with arms so that we can provide that support.
Good.
excellent. And then perhaps once we have these renovations done, we can re-look at marketing Mission Blue.
Absolutely.
And kind of take a fresh look at how we can really utilize
Yes.
our rentals.
Yes,
So-
we're also working internally in our department to redo a new brochure.
Oh, great.
Kevin provided some lovely new photos of Mission Blue that we're hoping to place on the website, and as I mentioned, we're going to redo a whole new brochure to kind of really showcase the facility and kind of encourage more rentals and more use of the space.
That'll help. Great. That's all good news.
Yes.
Terrific. Thank you for that budget update.
Sure.
Should we move on to new business? First, we have annual commission report to City Council.
So that's on here as well, because when we met to do some goal setting and establish our work plan, we thought that it would be wise to do an annual presentation to City Council to let them know where we're at as a commission and what we're making progress towards, and share the work plan. So we had put it tentatively as a placeholder for September annually, but the commission could decide whether or not they want to bump that or change. If we want to make a little bit more progress on the work plan before we present to council, it's entirely up to the commission.
What do you all think?
I think we know what we want, so I don't see any reason that we can't do it in September.
And do we have a tentative date in September?
The two dates that there will be council meetings in September are the 1st and the 15th.
September 1st or the 15th.
Yes.
And would this be a staff presentation? Would you make this presentation?
The commission would make the presentation, so either yourself or a representative.
Mr. 15th.
They would go to the council.
Yes.
Okay.
Kevin.
That's what you get for being so successful.
That's what happens when you do such a...
No, I think Karen would do a fine job as well. I think about the timing, maybe pushing it just a little bit further back. First of all, the 1st of September, I won't be in town. And we're going to discuss the P&R Commission work plan here later down on the agenda, and maybe just sort of seeing where we are with that, and if there are a few more things that we can check off in the list, so that when we make that presentation, we've got something to show for it. I have this P&R Commission work plan that I dug back from a previous meeting, and it would be good to see how, I mean, right now, I only have 2 things that are 20% completed on the whole list. Now, maybe that gets moved forward today when we discuss that. But so I would say at least the second meeting in September, or maybe even going into October, if we want another meeting between now and then. We would only have 1 meeting between now and presenting to the city council. Maybe we want 2 meetings in between.
Maybe so, and I actually think maybe we should wait until we have some major events already completed. I'd like to see Day in the Park happen so that we can kind of recap that and talk about successes of that, what we've learned from that.
So that would be October?
Maybe even Festival of Lights as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that we should have had a few of our large events so that we can discuss them and talk about what some of our ideas moving forward. Lyle?
Yes, I was going to disagree with Kevin. I think October at earliest is when we would look at potentially, because again, the work plans need to be solidified by more of the subgroups, come up with their items and where they're at percentage-wise. Because they only have now this facility. So at least minimum October we should look at, if not past that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
You think? David, what do you think?
Well, whatever works with everybody else, but I mean, I agree that, given that late September is Day in the Park, given some of the changes to that, it would probably make sense that we have that, see where it is, see what whatever the benefits and losses for it were, and then go for it. So, yeah.
It might be nice to keep it kind of at the beginning of the year annually. That way you can kind of, you could recap the previous year and kind of forecast what you anticipate.
Are you thinking January?
I mean, if you want to wait until after Day in the Park and Festival of Lights.
Maybe even January, indeed, because that would be that this commission as a group would have worked together for 1 year, and if we're making a
good point.
report, here's what we've done this year. And
That might be a better idea.
I like that.
Yep.
And I really would like to see Festival of Lights already completed so that we can really start planning and talking about that. So, okay, so let's look at that in January. That looks good. That sounds good. All right, excellent. Let's see, before school programming, this is BES.
This was a follow-up to the citizen request for the commission to have a discussion about whether or not the city should be providing before care at BES. We just had talked briefly. I know that they offer it at Panorama, but it's through the school district. So this is just a follow-up to the citizens' request from the last commission meeting.
And is this something that it's something that council, I would assume, would be involved in, or would we, if we were interested, would we make a proposal? Is it something that's even feasible at this point?
Right, and it might be something to discuss at the subcommittee level with rec programs to kind of do some research about how the program's being provided at Panorama, what the options are, what the financial impact would be if the city were to take on something like that. So.
Yes, I'm remembering from last the meeting, and here in our minutes, it said that she had previously presented this to the city council. She was asking that we consider adding additional monies to the budget to provide before school care at BES, and then this might have been at the city council where it came up again when I was making my presentation, and it was noted that this request for additional monies, of course, was too late in the budget process to go into this year's budget, which is subsequently being passed, and that if we did decide that we wanted to pursue this, that would have to be an additional add-on to the budget process. That's what I remember about the conversation. What is what's the timeline for thinking this through? This would be an additional feature that would be sponsored by Parks and Rec Department. This would go into the activities guide.
To be determined. I mean, if it's something that we're offering internally as the Park and Rec Department, as the city, then yes, it would be one of our programs. But if the commission is wanting to do research to determine whether it should be a function of the school district, then that would be something that, we may request that they consider taking on.
Well, it appears to me that, and this may be a little frustrating for some of the parents who are advocating for this, but just the way our decision-making process goes, it is really late in the game to try to put something like that in place for the fall semester. Is that correct?
Right. So school starts next week, next Thursday.
Right. So there's nothing that we're going to do tonight that's going to make that happen that fast.
Right, but I think what would make the most sense is for the commission to make a recommendation to City Council about how to address the citizens' request for the programming. And so, as I said, that might be a conversation that makes more sense being had at the subcommittee level and then bringing it back to the commission before it makes a recommendation to council or not.
And which subcommittee would that go to?
Probably rec programs.
Rec programs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just speaking as a parent with a child, granted, and she goes to school in the city, to private school, but regardless, for the before care at our school, it's something that's incurred by the individual parents that require that. It would seem to me that, not necessarily passing on the individual parents, but it would seem that that's a function of the school district more than Park and Rec.
That's what I would think.
Right.
Yeah. Unless all of a sudden Park and Rec is suddenly developing programs at 7 a.m. in the morning for and I think that's what my take on it, and this was purely just my own self-thinking, is that can you design something before school begins for parents to drop off their children? It'd be great, but if, given that there's not an unlimited pool of money, I do think that's something that's part and parcel of what the school itself and the school district would do more so than Park and
That's
Rec.
what I would think.
And Panorama, which is in the same school district, they already have such a program that is run by the school district.
Correct. There's a teacher who comes in early and provides that.
So one way to pursue the idea would be to look at what they do and can the school district, which then replicate that for the other school, and that would not be within our purview. Is that correct?
That's what I think. It should be the school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check into it, but I thought there was some sort of relationship between Daly City Park and Rec and the pre-care program at Panorama. I can check into that.
Yeah.
Let me look into that, and who is on? I can bring that information to someone on recreation programs.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of,
Let you
on the
guys know.
subcommittee for the recreation program. I think it's something we can look at, though, in regards to a recreational opportunity, potentially, before school. I think it's something we should look at. Again, it's not, as we're talking about, may not be something that is feasible, but something we could explore. So take a look at what Daily Sitter's offering, understand that, and then look at other options as well, see if there are any recreational programs before schools. I know when I was a kid and going to school, we did do recreation before school, playing basketball, things on the gym floor, things like that, and there were teachers around. But, we did it on our own. It wasn't structured, but we had access to it. So it might be something worth looking into from the recreation program. So the subcommittee, I believe we're going to meet. We could bring this up, talk about some options.
I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Next, 7C, date change for November meeting. So we are going to look at a
So it came to our attention that city council needs to utilize our Wednesday night in November.
Okay.
So we're looking at, I checked the calendar to see what was going on in here. So Wednesday the 2nd, which is the first Wednesday, or Tuesday the 8th, we would be able to have our meeting in here. So it's kind of up to what you guys, how your schedules look and if that's possible.
So Tuesday, the 8th is Election Day.
Yeah.
That, the polls will be.
They'll be voting here. Guess that wouldn't be possible.
Wednesday the 2nd works for me. How about for everyone else?
It works for me.
Works for me.
It worked for me as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it should be.
Okay.
We'll let Teresa and Renee know.
All right.
First, second, okay. Same time, 6:30. Excellent. All right, good. Let's move on to reports. Chairperson report. I don't have much. I just wanted to report on, let's see what has happened since the June meeting. The skate park ribbon cutting ceremony happened, and we've seen a lot of skaters out there on the park, so that's exciting. Seems to be well utilized. Also, the rehab project day that Bonnie and I worked on in subcommittee happened. That was in a canyon right next to our house, Sierra Point Canyon, and that's looking great. So we had some
Good.
volunteers there to do that. So that's all I have. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, could I just ask about, it triggered a question in my head about the skate park opening, and we have a naming implementation guidelines. They've gone from here to the city council, is that correct?
I don't know if they've actually
We looked at them at the
formally
last
gone to
meeting,
city
I
council.
believe.
I know that.
They did go to city council.
And where are they in the process? Because right now our wonderful skate park is officially without a name.
Yeah, I believe that they approved the process that was recommended by the commission. So I think we're at the point where we're accepting recommendations from community members. So far, we only have one
And
recommendation.
does that name come through us, or does that go directly to, that
comes through-
process come to us, or does it
Yes.
go directly to city council?
It comes through the commission, and the commission will evaluate the recommendations and then determine the most viable suggestions and then bring those to council.
So that will be on our agenda sometime here
Yes.
in the near future?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Great. Subcommittees. Let's look at subcommittees that met and get some reports from those. Kevin, you want to report on public art?
Well, I'll report on it. I don't have much to say. We have met, and we will meet again, and we are still working through with very interesting conversations about writing this draft for implementation guidelines. I expect it'll be another 2 meetings, maybe a
Probably.
bit more, before we have something in reasonable shape to bring to the commission as a
Right.
whole, at which point we'll get input from all of you, and we'll explain what our thinking is. And
And it's canceled next week.
yes, that's been
Okay.
canceled next year. It's next week, it's postponed. So there's no significant update, except that we're working on it.
Coming along well, I think. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Day in the park. Do we have a report, David?
I've got
or
last
Bonnie?
night's
David
paper.
and Bonnie?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we met last night, and we're going to have a wine and beer garden. And instead of having T-shirts, we're going to have wine glasses that you can purchase. And they'll have the city's logo is what we decided, but no date. So if we have extra, we can use them for something else.
Good idea.
And we're going to do a teen area at the basketball courts. They're going to have local musicians. They're talking about having karaoke, henna painting, something to keep the teens occupied, because as a rule, they're kind of left out. I think the zip line will be popular. I think a lot of people will go for that. The kids will probably go for that. And then we're going to close off the street, right? Yeah. We're going to close off the street, and so the booths will be on Old County Road here.
That'll be great.
And that way, they could go back and forth, people could walk. And we wanted to leave the grassy area open if people would put out a blanket and have their lunch or whatever and stay and listen to the music. Dog costume contest we're going to have. So anyone that has a little dog with a costume, it'll be judged and there'll be a prize. And then we'll have pie eating contest, and that'll be a prize too. And then we hope to have more food. We're talking to local purveyors of food, and then of course the Lions always do their barbecue. And then we want to do a walk down memory lane showing what has happened with the community since it's the 30th anniversary. So I think that's about it. Photographs, whatever we have. They thought it would stand alone booth. Is that Noreen's right? Yeah. And David?
Now, I think in the past we talked about, isn't there's some artifacts somewhere in a room here that will be brought out as well?
There's an archive room
Yeah.
that we're hoping to snag some historical photos and such.
Good. And that's about it. And the Derby, I forgot the Derby.
It's going to be quite a day.
The Derby will start at 8 o'clock, so there's a schedule, and new volunteer of the year will be announced. And then we'll have the band start from 1 to 3, and the hours are going to be shorter. We're going to be open from 10 to 3:30 and still going till 5, because it kind of, by 5, most people have gone home anyway.
It's true, yeah.
So,
And where will the zip line be set up?
We're working with Public Works on configuration of the new event. So given the dimensions that are required for the zip line, we have to have 250 feet in length of straight space that's unobstructed by wires or trees or what have you. So right now, we're thinking the best placement for it will be where the food has been traditionally on San Francisco, below the Derby, and we're going to relocate. Hopefully, we're going to relocate the food to be on Old County Road, where we have all of the vendors to encourage people to walk down the street and kind of pass through the vendor booths that we'll have available at the day.
It sounds like a really great day planned.
that's what we hope.
Yeah.
That people will just hit it and go home, that they'll stay.
Have you booked the bands yet?
No, we have, I don't think so, have we, Noreen?
We talked about using, because one of the bands from the concert series was bumped because of the miscommunication, so we talked about potentially using them for the day in the park.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, thank you for that. Were there any other subcommittees that met? I don't think there were, but in case we missed one, anything else? All right. Should we look at setting next subcommittee meetings? Let's go down the list and see who needs to meet.
Are we going to meet again for Day in the Park, Noreen?
Yeah, I thought we were on the
29th.
Yes, to review the arts and crafts vendor applications.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then Concerts in the Park does not need to meet, probably wrap up.
Maybe a wrap-up.
Well, yeah, I was thinking that we had originally talked about doing a concert in the park post-mortem.
That's a really good idea.
And in that process, sort of review and maybe even give Steve a hand with a fresh start at writing next year's fundraising letter while all the excitement's still fresh on our minds. Now, that doesn't have to happen immediately afterwards, but it should happen within a month or two.
Yes.
While the successes and
I think we have to be more selective with the groups that they book, since last week was such a disaster.
Right. So we're trying to kind of try to get ahead of the ball. So
Yes.
I don't know whether we want to try to do that before the next commission meeting or
Because the last one is on the 19th.
last one's on the 19th. So we're
So, can I just say something I wanted, because we had said earlier in the meeting that you guys really need to start getting the plans, the work plans started, and we did talk about teens, rec programs, and events really kind of need to meet. So I'm thinking, can can we maybe postpone the concerts in the park for a little bit so we can get this other stuff
We
in?
can postpone it between the September and the October meeting, but I think we should definitely do
Yes.
that and really look at what, while it's still fresh on our mind, look at what worked, and then also really look forward to try to make whatever adjustments and changes we might want
Yes.
to do for next year.
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be for next month, okay, after the next meeting. Events needs to meet to talk about work plan. That's the two commissioners who are not here, so we can schedule something with them. Festival of Lights, not need to meet, I would think, unless they would want to.
We're going to have to meet soon, I don't know.
Yeah, it's still a little early.
Like
so
October, maybe.
I think maybe right after Day in the Park, so early October.
Okay. Habitat Restoration Day is fine. Public Art, we will meet, we'll,
I'm waiting for Stuart to
Stuart.
reschedule, yeah.
we'll get that going. We'll meet before the next meeting. Recreation Programs, we'll meet to talk about work plan and preschool, before school care at BES. Okay, I guess we need to wait for Teresa, so should we do, Tricia, should we wait and have you ask the three of them about dates? Or should we set something and,
Yeah, for the rec programs?
yes.
Yeah, that's Lyle.
Lyle, David, and Teresa.
Yeah, if maybe Lyle and David could give me a time, and then I can kind of wheel Teresa in. What do you think works for you guys? I know David's probably the hardest one to get.
A little bit. My travel in the next 2 months, September, I know I have to go to New York. I don't know exactly when yet. So I'll know, I'll have a little more clarity in the next 2 weeks.
What do you have the rest of this month, though? Do you have anything that we can throw something out this month?
Next week, forget it. The 29th, I know we're meeting. Let me think. I know that, that Thursday, maybe that Wednesday, which would be what, the 31st, I would think.
August 31st.
What does that look like for you, Lyle?
That's fine.
Okay.
Or we can try and go back to back on the 29th.
Yeah, but your meeting's at 6, so it would have to be like 7. Is that too
That's
late?
possible. I mean, that's possible.
What does that look like for you?
29th at 7?
Yeah.
I can do it.
Okay, do you want to try to do that and just knock it out?
Just because Teresa's already there for the Day in the Park
Right, okay,
meeting,
that's
so it would just
And
be,
David's-
Bonnie could leave afterwards, and then Lyle could come at 7.
Yep.
So why don't you guys just, if you could put that on your calendar now, and we'll go forward and hopefully that'll come to fruition.
That's August 29th?
Yes, at 7
At
p.m.
7, okay.
So they'll do Day in the Park at 6 and then rec programs at 7.
Okay. I can let Teresa know. I'll give a recap after this meeting. Okay, recreation facilities. We were supposed to meet, so we, refresh my memory, we were going to meet, I believe it was about piñatas?
Yes, and that's in the citizens' communication from the last meeting, which was 2 months ago, so it seems like forever ago. And we had a concerned citizen who came in and talked about the difficulties with piñatas and chocolate being left on the lawn, and of course chocolate is highly poisonous for dogs, and so there seemed to be a clash or a conflict there. And in that meeting, we talked about that discussion and reviewing what various policies are, and if there is some action that we can take. That was going to go to the Recreational Facility Subcommittee.
Okay, so party policies generally.
Yes,
Perhaps.
how party policies are conflicting with dog policies.
Okay. Thank you for that reminder. Okay, so that's party policies. All right. Do you want to schedule something right now and then find out if that works for Renee?
We can do that.
Is there a particular day of the week that works for you? And then let's see. You want to do that next month or the end of this month? What's best?
So Tuesdays don't typically work for me, so we can do it at the end of the month, we can do the 31st.
Okay. 31st looks good to me. What is this thing right here? Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so let us tentatively book that and let Renee know.
6?
6 is fine. Okay, 6 p.m. Okay, great. And then we have seniors.
I don't think we have anything planned.
Okay. Teen Services needs to meet and discuss work plan. That's David and Teresa.
Yeah, I think we just confer when she gets back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. Trails Development, I think we are fine. Is there anything we need to meet regarding that? I don't think so. Trails Master Plan, and no updates on that, right? Okay. 280 South Hill sale proceeds. What's going on with that, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't know. I signed up for that. Is that still in, and what I understand about this is that there is some proceeds, and that there are proceeds from the sale of a bit of land, and that the use of that and the discussion of the use of that actually goes across two different commissions, our commission and Open Space.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never gotten a call as to go to one of these joint meetings, and then maybe there was some discussion that decision's already been made, and this is just a hangover from previous. Do you
I
know what
don't
the story is on
believe the decisions have been made regarding the allocation of those funds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is one of those subcommittees that it's when there's something happening that you'll be pulled into the conversation. I haven't heard anything recently from Stuart about it, so I think it's stagnant at this point. But I'm happy to check in with him about where it's
That
at.
might be good, because my understanding about it is that there are funds out there, something
Right.
around $300,000, and that Open Space has some ideas about how that could be put to good use. And on our end of the equation, I would come in and represent us in terms of using that, or advocating to use that for upgrades to trails.
That's correct.
But since I signed on to that with great interest, I have never heard a peep.
Okay.
So maybe it would be good to know just where that is. Is it
Yeah.
sort of on the sidelines for a while?
Let me follow up with Stuart, and then one of us will circle back with you and let you
Okay.
know what
Very
the
good.
status is.
Thank you.
It seems like that might be something that would happen in tandem with the Trails Master Plan, would think. There's a larger vision for trails and work on trailheads or something like that. Who knows? Okay, C, commissioners. Do commissioners have any reports to make? No?
Nope.
Okay. Staff, programs report?
I have several.
Great.
So the new activity guide came out on the 1st.
Beautiful.
And registration opened on the 2nd. And at 7:45 in the morning, I had a line of people outside the door waiting to sign up for the youth art class.
Oh, yeah.
So that filled up in like an hour. So I just wanted to go over a few new things that we have coming up. So we are starting a skateboarding class. There's going to be 2 of them. One is called Getting Started. The other is Basic Tricks. The Getting Started, I believe, right now we have about 8 signed up, which I think 10 is our max, so we're doing really well with that one. The Basic Tricks, I think people are a little bit afraid of that because they want to do the Getting Started one first, but Ricardo said it's not like you're going to be learning loops and jumps, and so hopefully we'll get some more people interested in that one. Those classes are going to be held on Saturdays at 9 a.m. in the morning. and each session is 4 weeks. So there's 2 sessions open right now.
And who's teaching that class?
The gentleman's name is Mike Manitas. He's from Atlas Skateboarding. I believe it's out of South City, I think, maybe.
Good,
Something like that. Yeah. So that's happening. As most everybody knows, school starts next Thursday. So the after-school program, people are coming in to sign up for that now. We do already have online winter break camp. It's up and ready to go if anyone wants to start signing up now. That will take place in December. And then we are offering 2 one-day camps for when the school's closed, but yet it's not a real holiday. So people don't have places to put their kids because they have to go to work. One is a Monday, October 10th, and the other is Wednesday, November 23rd, and those are $30 to the residents, and it's 8 to 6. It's just like our regular after-school program, but it's just a special day. There's no school that day. We also are going to try out fall swimming lessons this year.
Oh.
And it will be Sundays. They will be on Sundays only. They are limited times, not like the summer where there's, a bunch of different sessions. So you just have to kind of go into the activity guide and look and see, where you might be at. There's 3 sessions. The first one starts September 11th, and each session is, I believe, 4 weeks. And then there's a session in October and a session in November. So people are actually starting to sign up for those already. People are excited that we're doing something past summertime.
Right.
Also on the swimming side, we're doing 2 brand new things this year. They're in the activity guide. One they're calling dive-in movies. They're going to be showing, one is in September, on September 10th, the movie Inside Out. And the other is in October, and that's Zootopia. Mary might have more information as to exactly the situation with that. I just know that it's happening. And then they're doing something that I think is really interesting. It's called Underwater Pumpkin Patch. So Saturday, October 8th from 1 to 3, there's just a $5 entrance fee, and I guess you go in the pool and pick pumpkins. So, yeah, something new and different. And sounds kind of fun, actually. We also, finally, it's coming back to that. Teresa's not here tonight because she would be very excited. Cuban salsa is going to happen. Starting Thursdays, September 8th at the Mission Blue Center from 7:30 to 9 p.m. And it's drop-in fees only. So there's you don't have to buy a whole card. You can just drop in.
And Tricia, is that a dance workout class, or is that a social dance class?
I think it's more of a social dance class.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Anne.
But you will get a workout.
Yeah. And then the last, we have another new class starting. We're going to do some Zumba classes again. There's Zumba Fitness, and there's also Zumba Toning. The Zumba Toning will be Sundays and Mondays from 6 to 7 up at Mission Blue. Those are also both drop-in classes only. And the Zumba Fitness classes will be Tuesdays and Thursdays at Mission Blue from 6 to 7. Both of those classes one starts on the 5th of September, the other starts on the 6th. So we have some new stuff coming out. We're hoping that, people are going to be excited about it. We know how people are about going to Mission Blue to work out. It's a little sour for them. So we're hoping that people go, because I think it's going to be great. We have some new stuff. We're trying to add in all that we can. So that's pretty much it for me.
The only thing I had was a call to mark your calendars for October 1st. The city will be hosting the 55th anniversary party of the city's incorporation, which will take place at Mission Blue from 6:30 to 9:30. And there'll be a formal community invitation going out shortly via our social media and communications and the City Star for the next month.
Great.
That's all I have.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the reports, and really exciting to see new activities coming in. I think it really We talked about incorporating freshness and the importance of that, and I think when you have these new activities in the activity guide, it makes people really excited when it shows up. They want to look through and there's something new in there. So thank you for your efforts in that direction. It's exciting. All right, let's see. Programs report, commission matters. We have no written communications as far as I know of. Does anyone have any emails or anything from the public? Commission calendar. So for our next meeting, what are some things that we want to make sure are on the agenda for next?
The one thing that I did write down was the facility naming for the skate park, so that's definitely going to be on there.
Okay. And is that, how are we going to let the public know that that's open for submissions?
I think what we want to do is kind of elicit some community feedback, create a forum or an opportunity where they could provide that input if they have some. So I was going to talk to Crystal, who is our intern in the city manager's office right now, who's kind of handling some of our communications while Caroline is out on maternity leave still, although she'll be back in a couple of weeks, about maybe posting a forum on the city's website in our town hall, and maybe using some of our social media outreach platforms to engage the public.
That sounds like a great idea.
And the only naming thing that we have before us at the moment is the skate park, or are there some other things that are?
As far as I'm aware, that's the only thing.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll be probably getting a final report about concerts in the park and
Art probably will meet.
plan. What was that?
Public art.
Public
art.
art will have met, okay. And I'm just going down the agenda to see what else we might want to make sure gets on the next agenda.
Maybe a follow-up to Day in the Park,
Yes.
because that'll be after.
Oh, that's true, okay. Good.
Well, Day in the Park is on the 24th, so I think our meeting is before that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so we could do a recap of Day in the Park for the October meeting.
Okay.
Great. All right. Well, anything else? Is that it? All right. Then we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:20 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.